February 22nd, 2026, 11:47 in the morning. A Black Hawk helicopter tears through the mountain air above Jalisco at 160 miles per hour. Inside, strapped to a stretcher, bleeding through 3 gunshot wounds, is a man the United States government has been hunting for 15 years. Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, the most feared drug lord on planet Earth. The man responsible for flooding American streets with enough fentanyl to kill 100,000 people every single year. A man with a $15 million bounty on his head who has survived assassinations, military raids, and 2 decades of relentless pursuit by every intelligence agency in the Western Hemisphere. By the time this helicopter lands, Mexico will never be the same again. His cartel will respond by burning 6 Mexican states to the ground. American tourists will barricade themselves inside hotel rooms. Airports will shut down, and the most powerful criminal empire in modern history will collapse into a savage civil war that nobody is prepared for. But here's what nobody is asking. How did Mexico find a man who had been invisible for 15 years? How do you hunt someone protected by 1,000 armed gunmen, hidden inside remote mountain villages, with an intelligence network that rivals the CIA? How do you catch a ghost? The answer isn't satellites. It isn't military technology. It isn't $15 million in reward money. It's a woman, a secret, and a phone call made at 3 p.m. on a Thursday that changed everything. Before we break this down second by second, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling us where you are watching from and whether El Mencho's death was justice or just the beginning of something far worse. Because what you are about to hear will show you that the most dangerous weapon in any war isn't a missile or a helicopter gunship. It's betrayal. This story doesn't start on February 22nd. It starts 48 hours earlier, in a government building in Mexico City, with a young woman who walked in off the street, shaking, terrified, and carrying information that would end the reign of the most powerful criminal in the world. February 20th. 2026, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Mexico City. A woman pushes through the glass doors of a secure government building. She's 28 years old, dark hair, wearing jeans and a plain jacket. No appointment, no clearance, no introduction. The receptionist barely looks up until the woman leans across the desk and says something that makes every person in the lobby freeze.
I know where El Mencho is hiding. I need to speak to military intelligence. Right now.
They almost turn her away. Every week, tips come in claiming to know El Mencho's location. Rival cartels send false information to trigger military operations against their enemies. Desperate civilians invent stories hoping for reward money. 99% of leads are garbage. And the 1% that aren't? Those people usually end up dead within 72 hours. But something about this woman is different. A veteran colonel from the Secretariat of National Defense is called down from the 4th floor. He expects another waste of his afternoon. He sits across from her in a bare concrete room, arms folded, expression flat. He asks her how she knows where El Mencho is. She doesn't ask for reward money. She doesn't bargain. She doesn't even hesitate. She says 3 words that make the colonel's blood run cold.
I'm with his bodyguard.
Her name was Sophia. That's not her real name. Her real identity is still classified, buried under layers of witness protection paperwork that will remain sealed for decades. But Sophia is what we'll call her. For 3 years, Sophia had been in a relationship with a man named Marco, one of El Mencho's most trusted personal security officers. 8 years of loyal service. A man who had been present at cartel executions, shipment negotiations, safe house relocations. A man who knew everything. And every night, Marco came home to Sophia. She hadn't asked questions. She loved him. She kept her eyes down and her mouth shut. Until 2 weeks before she walked into that government building. Marco came home drunk, furious. El Mencho had ordered the execution of Marco's cousin, a low-level worker who had been late on a delivery. Not stealing, not betraying anyone, just late. El Mencho had him shot without a warning, without a second thought, while Marco watched and could do nothing. That night, Marco drank until he couldn't see, and he talked. He told Sophia everything. The location, a remote cabin complex in the pine forests outside Tapalpa, Jalisco, 2 hours from Guadalajara. Dirt roads only locals could navigate. 6 ex-military bodyguards. No phones, no internet, complete radio silence. El Mencho had been there 3 weeks. feeling untouchable. Marco passed out before he remembered what he'd said. Sophia lay awake until morning. Then she waited for Marco to leave for his next rotation, packed nothing, told no one, and went straight to the government. The colonel stares at her across that bare concrete table. He's still skeptical. He needs proof. Sophia reaches into her jacket pocket and pulls out her phone. She shows him photographs. Marco in tactical gear. Marco standing beside armored vehicles. Marco holding assault rifles with other armed men. The colonel scrolls through them, his face unreadable. Then he stops. His hands tighten around the phone. In the background of one photograph, blurry, taken at distance but unmistakable, a heavy-set man in a baseball cap and sunglasses, standing with Marco's group, laughing at something off camera. El Mencho, in the flesh, alive, confirmed location. The colonel sets the phone down very carefully. He looks up at Sophia. For the first time since she walked in, his expression changes. By 5 p.m., Sophia is in a safe house across the city. Federal police outside every door and window. Her family, parents, a younger sister, already being relocated. New identities, new city, new lives starting immediately. She will never see Marco again. She knows that. She knows what Marco will think when he realizes she's gone. She knows what El Mencho will do when he realizes he's been exposed. She knows the Jalisco cartel will search for her for years, maybe decades. She'll spend the rest of her life looking over her shoulder. But she also knows something else. In 48 hours, the man responsible for her country's suffering will be dead, and she made that happen. February 21st, 2026, 6 a.m. Mexican Ministry of Defense, Mexico City. The room is windowless, fluorescent lit, thick with the smell of coffee and tension. Defense Secretary Ricardo Trevilla sits at the head of the table. Around him, senior intelligence officers, special forces commanders, the head of CEMAR, the Mexican Navy's elite special operations unit, and 2 DEA liaison agents who have flown in overnight from the American embassy. On the screen behind Trevilla, satellite imagery of the Tapalpa mountain region. Dense pine forest, winding dirt roads, and circled in red, a small cluster of structures barely visible through the tree cover. El Mencho's hideout. Trevilla speaks slowly, deliberately, every word landing like a stone in still water.
We have 48 hours, maybe less. The moment El Mencho's security detail notices the girlfriend is gone, they will move him. We get one shot at this. One chance. If we miss, he disappears. And this time, he won't resurface for another decade.
Colonel Hector Ramirez, commander of the Special Forces element, pulls up tactical overlays. Ramirez is a man who has spent 20 years fighting cartels in Sinaloa, Michoacán, and Tamaulipas. He has seen things in those operations that most soldiers never encounter in a lifetime of combat. He is not a man who frightens easily, but today, even he speaks carefully.
The cabin sits here, 15 kilometers outside Tapalpa. Single-access road, narrow, unpaved, runs through exposed terrain for 3 kilometers. If we drive in, they'll see us from 20 minutes out. They'll have time to execute El Mencho before we breach, or set up a kill zone that costs us dozens of men.
Helicopters?
Ramirez nods.
Fast rope insertion from the north. We're on the ground before they know we're coming. But Tapalpa sits at 2,100 meters elevation. Thin air. Our Blackhawks lose lift capacity. We'll have a 90-second window to get everyone on the ground. After that, the pilots need to pull up or risk losing the aircraft.
How many men does he have?
6 bodyguards, according to Sophia. All ex-military, all armed. We're treating that number as a minimum. We assume there are more we don't know about. We assume they will fight.
Trevilla looks at the satellite image for a long moment. When he speaks again, there is no ambiguity in his voice.
200 soldiers. Helicopter insertion from the north. Ground units blocking every road. Nobody leaves that mountain. And Ramirez, I want him alive. I want him in a courtroom. I want the world to watch him answer for what he's done.
Ramirez nods.
Understood.
The room falls silent. Everyone at that table knows what this operation represents. This is bigger than any cartel takedown in Mexican history. Bigger than El Chapo. Bigger than the Zetas. This is the operation that defines a generation of Mexican law enforcement. The operation that either proves Mexico can solve its own problems or proves it can't. Because here's the context. For the past year, President Trump has been threatening Mexico with tariffs, terrorism designations for cartels, and the possibility of unilateral American military action on Mexican soil. President Claudia Sheinbaum needs results. Taking down El Mencho, the man personally responsible for the fentanyl killing Americans by the tens of thousands, is the most powerful statement Mexico can make. Failure is not an option. By 2 p.m., Operation Thunderstrike is authorized. 200 of Mexico's finest soldiers begin moving. The clock is running. February 22nd, 2026, 6 a.m. A military airfield on the outskirts of Guadalajara. The air is cold and smells like jet fuel and pine. 200 soldiers in black combat gear move in organized silence across the tarmac. HKG-36 rifles, ballistic shields, breaching charges, trauma kits, every man carrying 70 pounds of equipment. 4 Blackhawks sit with rotors turning slowly. 2 transport helicopters, 1 medevac bird on standby, because Ramirez knows someone might not walk off this mountain. Colonel Ramirez walks among his men. He doesn't give a long speech. He's not that kind of commander. He stops in the middle of the formation and speaks in a voice just loud enough to carry.
You know who we're going after. The man who turned this country into a killing field. The man who poisoned American cities with fentanyl. The man who has been untouchable for 15 years. He's not untouchable anymore. Capture, if possible. If he fights, finish it. Bring everyone home.
200 soldiers. One answer. Yes, sir. 75 kilometers away, in the pine forests of Tapalpa, El Mencho wakes up at his usual hour. Late, unhurried, unconcerned. He makes coffee in the cabin kitchen, looks out the window at the morning mist drifting through the trees. He feels safe here. He has always felt safe when he's in the mountains. Nobody knows this location. He moves between safe houses every few weeks, a system he has perfected over 15 years of survival. In 2 days, he'll relocate to a property near Colima, but right now, he's relaxed. He sips his coffee. He watches the mist. He has no idea that at this exact moment, 200 soldiers are boarding helicopters to come kill him. 7:30 a.m. The Blackhawks lift off and bank south, flying low, hugging terrain, staying below radar. No radio chatter, no lights. Pilots navigating mountain passes at 160 miles per hour. Simultaneously, ground units in armored vehicles move into position on every road into Tapalpa. Checkpoints, roadblocks. If El Mencho somehow gets past the helicopters, there is nowhere left to run. 8:15 a.m. The helicopters land in a clearing 3 kilometers north of the target. Soldiers fast rope down into the dark pine forest. 200 men moving in total silence through rough terrain, steep slopes, loose rocks, dense undergrowth, 70 pounds of gear on every back. Nobody slows, nobody complains, because at the end of this march, the biggest target in Mexico is drinking coffee. 10:45 a.m. The lead unit reaches the tree line and stops. Through the pines, barely visible in the mountain light, 2 small buildings. A pickup truck parked on dirt, smoke rising lazily from a chimney, movement behind a window. A sniper settles into position, breathing slowly, and brings his scope to bear. A guard steps outside, a K-47 slung over one shoulder. He walks to the edge of the property, looks out at the trees, sees nothing, lights a cigarette. 200 soldiers are 12 meters away, watching him breathe. The sniper radios in a whisper.
Confirmed visual. Armed hostile. 1 visible.
Colonel Ramirez looks at his watch. He looks at the cabin. He thinks about 15 years of pursuit. He thinks about the thousands of people killed by El Mencho's fentanyl. He thinks about Sofia, sitting in a safe house somewhere in Mexico City, waiting to find out if the decision that destroyed her life was worth it. He picks up the megaphone.
Nemesio Oseguera, Mexican Army. You are surrounded. Come out now. You have 3 minutes.
Inside the cabin, chaos. A coffee cup hits the floor and shatters. Guards grab weapons. El Mencho runs to the window. He looks out and sees soldiers emerging from the tree line, dozens of them, then more, surrounding every wall, every exit. The forest itself has become an army. His most trusted bodyguard, Javier, appears at his side, rifle raised, eyes wide.
Boss, what do we do?
El Mencho has spent 15 years making decisions that other men couldn't stomach. In this moment, cornered, outnumbered 200-7, with no escape route and no allies within 50 kilometers, he makes one final decision, the same kind of decision he has always made.
We fight.
11:02 a.m. A bodyguard kicks open the front door and opens fire. The forest erupts. Mexican soldiers return fire immediately, controlled, disciplined. The bodyguard takes 3 rounds to the chest and drops in the doorway. 2 more guards fire from windows, glass shattering. Wooden frames splintering, rifle reports cracking through the mountain air. Snipers acquire targets. 2 more guards go down. Inside, El Mencho crawls through the chaos, bullets punching through walls around him. The smell of gunpowder and blood filling the rooms he has lived in for 3 weeks. Men dying, men screaming. He keeps moving, looking for something, any way out. There is no way out. 11:05 a.m. 3 guards dead, 2 wounded and surrendering, 1 still fighting from an upstairs room. The breaching team reaches the front door, shaped perfect charge on the frame. 3 seconds. The explosion tears the door off its hinges. Flashbangs, white light, and concussive thunder. Soldiers pour through the smoke. Movement at the top of the stairs. El Mencho stands at the landing. He's breathing hard, sweating. His hands are shaking, not from fear, but from the particular kind of adrenaline that comes when a man who has always controlled everything finally loses control of everything. He has a pistol in his right hand. Soldiers shout in Spanish.
Drop it. Drop the weapon. Now.
He raises the gun instead, fires once. Wild. The shot goes wide. 3 soldiers return fire, center mass. El Mencho takes rounds to his chest, abdomen, and leg. He collapses backward against the wall and slides down it slowly, leaving a red streak on the plaster. Soldiers rush up the stairs. The gun is kicked away. A medic drops to his knees and checks the wounds with the practiced, emotionless efficiency of a man who has done this too many times. Medevac now. Chest wound. Collapsed lung. He's losing blood fast. 11:12 a.m. A Black Hawk drops into the clearing next to the cabin. Rotor wash blasting pine needles and dirt in every direction. Soldiers carry El Mencho out on a stretcher. His eyes are open but unfocused. His lips are moving but no sound is coming out. Maybe prayers, maybe curses. Nobody can hear him over the rotor noise anyway. They load him into the helicopter. A flight medic starts an IV line with the efficiency of someone working against a clock they know is almost out of time. The Black Hawk lifts off immediately, banking hard north toward Mexico City. There is a federal trauma unit standing by. If they can keep him alive for 2 hours, maybe he makes it to trial. Maybe he faces the justice Trevilla promised. The medic works frantically. IV fluids, pressure bandages, oxygen mask. He is doing everything right, everything by the book. But 3 bullets at close range have done damage that no amount of correct procedure can undo at altitude, in a helicopter, over a mountain range. El Mencho's blood pressure is falling. His heart rate is becoming erratic. His body, which has survived 15 years of the most dangerous life imaginable, is finally running out of time. 11:47 a.m. Somewhere in the airspace between Jalisco and Michoacan, the monitor flatlines. The medic uses the defibrillator. Once, twice. He looks at the readout. He looks at the pilot. He shakes his head. The pilot keys his radio. His voice is completely flat.
Target is deceased. Repeat. Target is deceased.
In the Ministry of Defense in Mexico City, Defense Secretary Trevilla receives the call in silence. He closes his eyes for a long moment. This wasn't what he wanted. He wanted a trial. He wanted El Mencho sitting in a courtroom, answering for every life destroyed, every family shattered, every body shipped home in a box. He wanted the world to watch. Instead, El Mencho chose to fight, and now he's gone. Trevilla picks up the phone and calls President Scheinbaum.
Madam President, El Mencho has been eliminated.
A long silence on the line. Then quietly,
Confirmed?
Confirmed. He died during transport. We're bringing the body back now.
another silence. Then,
Tell your men they did well, General.
Yes, Madam President.
12:30 p.m. President Claudia Scheinbaum stands at a podium in the National Palace. She doesn't celebrate. She doesn't smile.
Fellow Mexicans, today, our armed forces conducted a successful operation in Jalisco. Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, has been killed. He was responsible for the fentanyl that destroyed tens of thousands of lives in Mexico and America. He turned parts of our country into war zones. Today, justice has been served. This is a message to every criminal organization operating on our soil. We will not stop.
Within minutes, every channel on Earth, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, same headline everywhere. World's most wanted drug lord killed in Mexican military raid. For about 45 minutes, it feels like a victory. Then Mexico starts burning. 1 p.m. A cartel regional commander in Guadalajara receives the news. He doesn't grieve. He gives one order.
Burn it all.
Within 30 minutes, armed men across 6 states move simultaneously. Trucks and buses stopped on highways, doused in gasoline, set on fire. Blockades of burning vehicles on major roads. A message written in flames. We are still here. In Puerto Vallarta, gunmen torch buses on the main boulevard. Hotels locked down. The international airport shuts. Delta, American Airlines, Alaska Airlines cancel all flights. Thousands of American tourists trapped, watching smoke rise from resort windows. In Guadalajara, code red. Schools closed. Buses stopped. Ghost town wrapped in smoke. By nightfall, 50 vehicles burning, 10 dead, 30 injured, 10,000 troops deployed. Curfews in 3 cities. Trump posts.
Congratulations to Mexico on taking down El Mencho. Great work.
Washington, it reads like a win. In Puerto Vallarta hotel corridors, it doesn't feel that way. February 24th, 2026. El Mencho's body lies in a Mexico City morgue. Identity confirmed through DNA. The $15 million bounty will transfer to Sofia, the woman who walked into a government building, shaking and terrified, and changed everything. She has a new name now, a new city, a new life built from the wreckage of the old one, $15 million richer, and she will spend decades looking over her shoulder because the Jalisco cartel's memory is long. Marco is arrested fleeing toward Guatemala, organized crime charges, a Mexican federal prison for the rest of his life. Years to think about one drunken night when he trusted the wrong person with the wrong information. In Jalisco, the power struggle begins immediately. El Mencho's son is already in an American prison, his brother in a Mexican one, his daughter behind bars. No clear successor, no central authority, and in the cartel world, that vacuum has only one resolution: war. By month's end, 200 dead in cartel violence, 15,000 troops deployed across Mexico, rival organizations already absorbing Jalisco territory piece by piece. In America, the fentanyl keeps coming. The supply chains El Mencho spent 15 years building don't disappear when the architect dies. New faces, same poison, same cities, same body count. 48 hours. From Sophia's walk through those government doors to the pilot's radio call over the mountains. 48 hours to end 15 years. The consequences will last a generation. And somewhere, under a name nobody knows, in a city nobody would guess, Sophia wakes up every morning knowing she's the reason why.